Welcome back. Last week I went through over 1,000 tech articles. These are the best. First, there's a new messaging app called Jot, and it's really taking off with middle schoolers and high schoolers and junior high. And it's taking off with that specific group because it's not over the internet. How does it work? Well, it's actually using mesh networking, so it's going directly from one phone to the next phone. And so if you have a whole bunch spread in an area, like a school perhaps, it just goes from one to the next until it finds whoever it's going to. The mesh network. This is a thing that's been in computing for quite some time. It hasn't been used in mobile applications widely very often, but this is a great use for it. Keep an eye out for Jot. There's apparently a way you can get free education in Germany because Germany has free university. So if you go there as an exchange student, try and learn some German, you can take a lot of classes because there's a lot of international students coming in from outside Germany that take all the classes. So it's not necessarily a requirement to learn German to take the classes because a lot of them are going to be in English. But, it's a lot to move over there. But, college is expensive. Worth it? That's cute. Engineers have come out with a way to automate your baking. There's basically a toaster oven that's called June, and it has a smart surface on the front, so you can do recipes, it can talk to you, it can sense what you're putting into it. So if you put in cookies, it'll tell you when they're done. It can set the temperatures for you. It'll even let you take a look at them on your smartphone. Neat. I would love to try some cookies out of that. Apple recently did a really big expo with all the new things they're coming out with. A lot of it was for developers and different things they're trying to do to change the market and shake things up. They're actually getting a lot of flack for it because very, very little, if any, of it was new. Apple's been known for a lot of the stuff they've been doing that's really pushing the market and doing new things and changing the way that we use phones. But this time around, it wasn't. It was all reactionary stuff to Google and to a lot of the other big competitors, like Amazon, Google, Netflix, any of these big guys that are coming out with all these different things they can do. Apple's trying to react in the television market, in the image processing market, in the search and help market. They're getting behind. Come on, Apple. Apparently, there's a lab somewhere that is dedicated to trying to figure out what the future of transportation is going to be, and what they've come out with is pretty cool. Now, this isn't out yet, but cool to think of. Basically, it's a giant drone with like a swing under it, and you sit on it and it'll take you from point A to point B. Kind of neat. Probably terrifying. Long ways until it's legal. But cool concept. Next, there's a book coming out about a kid who, when he was 14, created a nuclear reactor based off a true story. And I haven't heard of it for a while, but I'm really excited it's coming out in a book, and it's coming back into the news about this kid who figured out how to make a fusion reactor in pretty much his garage or like a shed in the backyard. Disney, of all the places, has come out with a new way to do robotic muscles. Robotic muscles are like they're the holy grail of robotics, really. Because if you can get a robot that can move like a human being, that can, react without having to have a motor that's pushing a thing, but actually have something that's sort of like a muscle, it just changes everything for robotics. Disney's kind of figured out how to do that. And they didn't do it with something super expensive. They didn't do it with, some, carbon nanotubes that take 20 years to grow inside of a diamond popsicle. No. This is actually using silk. They They basically took a thread and they tied it up so that heat and cooling can actually make it expand and contract. And its reaction times are actually faster than some human muscles. So that's really, really impressive. I want to try some because I am a huge robotics fan. SpaceX is moving forward with their plans to put satellites, low Earth satellites, into the atmosphere so that we can actually all have internet, the whole world. There are several companies that have thought about trying to figure out how to get the whole world internet. Facebook being one of them, Google being one of them with their Project Loon, which is where they're going to have a bunch of big balloons with internet broadcasters on them. Well, SpaceX is really going forward with it, and the others have kind of pulled back, and they're planning on putting a whole bunch of small probes, basically, little satellites that can, do all the sending and receiving. They're getting permission now to put up their test satellites so they can see if they can actually work with the right antennas, the right wavelengths, all that funness. But exciting times. Internet for everyone. So motorcycles are super dangerous, and it's dangerous to drive them at high speeds over little bits of water because they've only got two wheels. Cars are like this, and they've got four wheels, and so if you have slippage on the road due to gravel, sand, ice, water, just too much speed, anti-lock brakes are smart enough to figure out when it's starting to slide and when you can stop. But it doesn't have to worry about balance. Somebody's actually come out with a stability system where it can figure out if you're sliding, but it's not just right, left, slide like this. It's with a tilt as well, which is really cool, and the yaw, because you can pop a wheelie or go flying forward, and that's gonna change motorcycle driving, because you need to check out the videos in this thing, because they try and crash it, and they can't, because this system is smart enough that it stops them from sliding off and from hurting themselves. It's pretty awesome. With the advent of the new Jurassic Park movie coming out, there's this article that talks about the de-extinction of animals. So we're probably a little ways off from getting a woolly mammoth or dinosaurs back up and running, but there have been a few successful, semi-successful cases of de-extincting some animals. There's some wild mountain goat that went extinct, and they got that thing back. It was only alive for 10 minutes, but hey, it made it out of the womb all the way through this other goat that was not its same species, but they got it through this goat, and it came out, and it was alive for 10 minutes. It had some lung problems, but hey, progress being made there, so maybe in our lifetime, Jurassic Park for real. Twitter is doing some good things with all of their troll problems. They've been known for being really, really difficult to get rid of the trolls out there because they're persistent, and Twitter is trying to be really open for anybody who wants to say anything kind of marketplace. Twitter did just put out a thing that you can block in mass and save it into a list, so that other people can take that same list and say, oh, these are all the banned people. These are all the terrible people out there in the world. We'll just keep them. It's actually very, very similar to a lot of ad blocking software, where there's a list of ad sites, and they just keep that list, and a bunch of people update it, but they all share the same list, and then everybody blocks the same ads. It's actually quite a brilliant way to crowdsource the blocking of annoying people. There's a supermarket company called Ocado, pronunciation maybe, and it's a household name in the UK. But the reason why they're coming up here is that they're actually planning on building some really smart robots. I was gonna call them drones, but iRobot style robots that can help them out in the factory. The kind where you can say, "Go get me a pallet, from aisle 4 and bring it over here, and we'll set it up." Or, go restock the shelves on aisle 3, or something. But there's some super ambitious goals on making robots do awesome things, and best of luck to them. I hope to see them in the future. I probably didn't cover Hyperloop stuff here last week, but Hyperloop is something I've been following for a while. The Hyperloop is Elon Musk's idea of how to get people from point A to point B really fast, like replacing the interstates fast, and maybe even replacing some of the planes out there, the airlines. It's like basically it's a tube. It's a little vacuum tube where you stick a little capsule over here with some people in it and maybe some cargo, and it goes down a line that has almost no air in it and a lot of pressure behind it, and it goes flying down at really fast speeds, and then you end up at your destination. So anyway, somebody's put together a bunch of concept art, a bunch of ideas of how the stations would work and how the transition between these pods would work, a lot of that stuff. So maybe someday it'll actually connect things up. Unfortunately, their map of their biggest cities that they're going to connect did not include Idaho. Microsoft has come out with a giant screen similar to their Microsoft Surface table that they had a long time ago. Now they've kind of flipped that up on end, shrunk it down, and put it on a wall, so it's just a huge tablet, like a smart whiteboard, only there's no whiteboard. It's just a big screen. It's a tablet, really. It's just a giant iPad. And it will cost from $7,000 to $20,000. So if you have something like that just lying around and you want to have a giant tablet on your wall and you don't know what to do with your money, go for it. Samsung has come out with the Future. They have now some OLED screens that are transparent. Now, this isn't the first time that this has happened, but they're actually claiming that they have some screen resolutions that are high enough that people could actually use it and not just have it be a display thing. They have not only a see-through screen, but they also have a mirrored screen. So you could potentially have this up in your bathroom, and you've got your screen, you're brushing your teeth and checking your email, maybe going through a few tweets or something. Do whatever you want on the screen, and head out to work where you've got your transparent screen with just the important stuff on the front. I'm not really sure why you'd want that, but it looks super cool, and that's exactly what they have in all the futuristic movies. So the future is now. Oculus Rift is the virtual reality company that is actually owned by Facebook, is now making partnerships with Microsoft so that they can use the Xbox One controller and maybe some of the online features that Microsoft has with all their gaming. So that's interesting to see Facebook and Microsoft playing nice. I did not see that coming. Twitter made an interesting announcement the other day. They're basically coming up with email. It's called letters. It's tweets that go to a bunch of people, but they can be longer than 140 characters, like an email in public. Nothing new there, but whatever. Also, we'll end on this note. Drone racing is actually going to be a thing. It's like pod racing, but no life-size pods. They're just drones. Like, it's a real thing. It's happening in Australia, and they've got a whole tournament set up, and a big stadium, and drone racing. It's here. So yeah, there's sports. So that's the news for the week. Hope you didn't miss anything good, and I'll see you next week probably.